Hi, everyone. So I've gotten some questions about how to take notes in math because I mentioned this in one of the videos prior, and I figured I'd just go ahead and kind of show you what works for me. Now, this may work for you, it may not. You might like this, but you kind of tweak a little bit. I mean, this is not the end all be all of note taking in math, but for me, this is what works for me. So we're going to do just a very simple problem here just to kind of show you how it works. So the first thing that I'm going to do with my piece of notebook paper here is I'm just going to draw a line right down the right hand side. And what this line does is it separates the obviously the left and the right, but more importantly, anything on the left will be like will be lecture notes, definitions, techniques, and any examples that, the professor may go over in class. On the right hand side will be questions, explanations, drawings. All right, anything where it's kind of like what's going on in your head will be on the right hand side. So a good example of something like this would be like solve the following problem. All right, and this is gonna, like I said, this is a very basic problem. So we're going to solve 3 times the quantity x minus 1 equals 4x plus 2. So the first thing that I would do on the right hand side here is I would note this is linear. All right, so this is a linear equation. How do I know it's linear? Because the variables are both raised to the first power. That's how I know it's a linear equation, okay? But then to solve this, there are a certain amount of steps that we go ahead and do this. So what I would write here on the right would just be steps to solve. And as you go ahead and you solve this, you would write out what you did on the right hand side. So like for example, I'm just going to rewrite the problem. And then I'm going to write down what I do. So first thing is I will distribute the 3. So I just write the word distribute off to the right hand side. That's going to give me 3x minus 3 equals 4x plus 2. Now, I look at the left side. There's nothing I can combine on the left. I look on the right. Nothing I can combine on the right. So I'm going to have to isolate my variable and constant terms. So what I do is I draw a little line with a little arrow and a line that says, okay, that's this from the word distribute all the way down to that line is where I use my distributive property. Now, I'm just going to isolate variable terms and constant terms. So to do this, I'll move the 3 first from left to right by adding 3 to both sides. And then I will move the 4x from right to left by subtracting it from both sides. So there we go. There's my little line that says, okay, here's what I did. All this work right here is isolating my variable and constant terms. And then finally, divide both sides by -1. So I just write the word divide to say x equals -5. And I would just put solved. All right. Now, I know this might be maybe a little overkill because we hopefully remember how to solve linear equations. But I'm pretty sure if you go back and you look at all your notes, you might not have ever wrote this down when you were go ahead and you were like studying and stuff like that. And it's little things like this that make the world of difference when it comes to learning math. Because learning math is not about memorizing the problems. Okay, we should on this left hand side over here, in this beautiful purple color, we should never ever memorize problems. But what we should do is understand our technique. Okay? We should always understand technique. Anytime you have an equation that's linear, you will always use the same exact steps to solve it. You may use all of them, you may use only a portion of them, but the fact remains, you're going to be using them. Okay? So this is just one little example. Let's look at another example here. So later on this semester, we're going to be looking at this technique or this type of statistics called inferential statistics, all right? And we're going to be using all these different formulas. And here's one of them right here. Okay? And once again, to be completely honest with you, I copy and pasted this from our book. But the way I would write this formula would be z is equal to x bar minus mu divided by s over the square root of n. I hate the way fractions are written like that in that form. I like them traditionally, numerator, denominator, top and bottom. But anyways, I don't want to bog down into that. First thing I would do is this. I would write question and then draw an arrow. What is mu sub 0? And maybe you have another question. I know this is the standard deviation. But can this be used to approximate sigma, which is our population deviation? All right? So what I'm really trying to demonstrate here is this. When you watch the lecture videos or you're reading, it's best to have two different notebooks, okay? Two notebooks. And I went over this in the one announcement that I wrote. The first notebook, that's for lecture notes. All right? That's all the, lecture videos, guided notes, stuff like that, all right? The second notebook is all of your homework, quiz, or exam stuff, all right? And as soon as you separate these two notebooks, all right, you'll start to get even more organized. And I would know, okay, this right here, this question would be located in a lecture note, and then I can use that and apply it to the homework notebook and everything like that. So like I said, the idea behind this is, as you're watching the lectures or the guided notes and stuff like that, you're not bogged down in constantly looking up little things, because what you can do is once you're done reading or once you're done watching the video, you can go back and say, okay, when I approach this at that moment in time, here's the question I had, all right? The best thing you can always do is write things down, all right? So this is just my little way of how I take notes. Sometimes at the end of the page, at the very bottom of the page, I also do this. I draw a little line, and I just summarize what we did on that page. All right. Now, what's nice about this class being online is you can pause my lecture videos whenever you want, and you can summarize what you just wrote. Summary. Focused on solving linear equations, then had two questions regarding the population mean and the standard deviation, if it could be used. Now let me write it like this. And can S be used instead of sigma? And this way, when you go back and you look at your notes, and I'll zoom out here a little bit. When you go back and you look at your notes, not only did you write the word question, okay? You can see them right here, but you also summarize them down here. That way, when you do come to me for help or something like that, everything's already organized and it's right here, okay? The last thing I want to show you, and I only had one email about this, but somebody said, hey, how do you type your notes like that? All right, and I'm going to show you how I do that here. So let me go ahead and let me change my screen real fast. All right, here we go. I think this works. I'll move this over here. Give me a second. There we go. I use a program called Lyx. All right, this is what it looks like right here, LYX, and it is not a word processing document. All right, this is a little bit more than that. All right, in fact, Here are your chapter 1 notes right here. All right, so this is what it looks like when I type everything up. So as you can see here, it has the shape in the form of Word, but this actually uses LaTeX to actually, what's the word I can't even think of the word I want to use right now. Anyways, I just type things in. I'm just doing my thing, right? But it's a lot more than that. Like for example, here in within Word, if you wanted to create space, you would have to hit the end. You would have to hit the enter button a couple times. Well, in Lyx, you can actually think about, okay, the page is 11 inches in length, 8.5 width. Um, how much of that space do I want to create for a definition bubble called variable? Well, I want a vertical space of 5 centimeters. So I actually tell this program, make this box 5 centimeters large, all right, from top to bottom. Other things I can do with this, okay, is I can create a table of contents, which is right here. All right, it just says table of contents. But what you're going to notice here, and it's kind of hard to see this. I hope you can see it well on your screen. Is when I click on, let's say, let me come down to here. Like right here where it says chapter 1 describing data with graphs, and it says like 1.1 variables and data. If you look right here where it says standard, when I click to the right of this, notice it says subsection. If I click to the right of chapter 1 describing data with graphs, it says section. And then if I click on definitions right here to the right, it says subsection. Not only that, it automatically links all of these things together. So, and you can see like the little drop down menu over here on the left hand side. So if you want to write an actual nice like something that you would have to submit to a journal or something like that, this is what you would use. You would use something like this, or you would use like something more formal like LaTeX, which is like very heavy in terms of you got to know how to program. This is kind of it's like right in the middle. All right, it's just right. It's right in that sweet spot. So let me see here. It even does math equations very well. So like right here, you can see I have the math equation. So what I'll do is I will go ahead and I'll scroll all the way down, and I'll show you how I went ahead and did that math equation that we had in our notes example. So what I would do here, oops, sorry. Here we go. Nope, don't want that. What I would do here, I guess I'll just leave it at 80. Who cares? Is I would come up to insert, math, and then I would hit display formula. Okay, so now you can see right here it says number 8. Let me get rid of that. I could probably get rid of that 8 by doing this. All right, and my display formula is right in the middle. Now, if you remember, let's see if I can go back to my screen real quick. There you go. So on my screen, you can see here's the formula here that we're going to use right there. All right. So that's going to be Z over, okay, I got it. So I'm going to go ahead and type that in. So what I would type in is Z. Give me a sec. There we go. Z equals. Now, to create a fraction that is going to be large and not small, I would / type in dfrac. Not D, come on. Sorry, I have like 8 keyboards on my desk right now, so it's not working with me. This is horrible. All right, let's try it again. / dfrac. There it is right there. Okay, so now it's displaying a fraction. And then I would just type in, actually, I can show you down here in the lower left-hand corner, here's all your math fonts and everything. So I would click on this one and look for the X bar. There's a shortcut for that. I'm not going to use it because I want you to see how I'm doing this. Minus, we're going to do mu. So click on the Greek alphabet here, look for mu, which is right here, underscore 0 divided by, again, dfrac, because I want it to look nice and neat, S over, and then finally the square root. I forget where the square root is. Here it is right there. Square root of n. And then that would be it. Okay. Now, to visualize this, because as you can see here, like this graph I have in front of you is massive. It's huge. It takes up the whole page. But when I go ahead and render this, and that's the word I wanted to use earlier, I would just go ahead and click on these two little eyeballs. And if you look, it's really hard to see lower right hand corner. It's rendering everything for me right now. And it's going to make it look nice and pretty and all that good stuff. So just going to wait a little bit of time here for it to render. The more stuff you have, the heavier it's going to render. And let's do this one more time just so you could see it. It automatically creates a PDF. All right. So I'm going to put this here. Put this over here. All right. And let's render it one more time. And here it is rendered and everything. And like I said, here are the table of contents. Even though if I scroll all the way up, it doesn't show you the table of contents. It's already there. They're automatically linked to everything. So if I wanted to go directly to, let's say, one more type of graph underneath section 1.2, so subsection 1.2.2, I just click there and it takes me right there where I need to be. And finally, if I scroll all the way down, you're going to see that nice equation that I just created right there. And it's PDF, so you can zoom in as much as you want, and it's not going to lose resolution or anything like that. If you were writing a book, this is what you would use. If you, like I said, if you were trying to do, try to get something into a journal or something like that, this is what you would use. If you're writing a thesis or a dissertation, this is what you would use again. So Microsoft Word, although it's not bad, it is not what like scientists and people like that use. Just ask any academic and they'll tell you, no, we don't use that stuff. All right. I hope this helped, and I will see you in the next video.